So this slide is about helping you to understand the different phases that we have in our application rationalization engagement. So we start off with the preparation phase, which is more like discovering or understanding your application's current landscape. So this starts typically with the questions that we have sent you. So mostly there will be a lot of discovery sessions where we try and understand your in-house built applications, your SaaS applications, how you maintain them, what are your current capabilities in terms of managing and governing them, where do you lack, and things like that. And we try to identify the key stakeholders who needs to be involved in this application rationalization process, and help or guide through in defining smart business goals, specific and measurable, time bounded, which means say you want to see a cost reduction in the next 3 months, or you want to see like 20% cost reduction in the next 3 months, or you want to see performance tune, better productivity in critical business applications in the next quarter, things like that, right? So we come up with some targeted business goals that we want to achieve as part of this application rationalization engagement. And before we can move on to actual assessment, what we need, the foundation or the baseline, is the application inventory master list or your application portfolio. Now, some organizations will have this, will have an enterprise architecture tool that keeps the inventory of their applications and will be able to see all the metadata information about the applications. And they may have CMDB, or they may have ITSM database, or whatever, right? Uh, and we have also seen organizations where there are multiple sources of truth. There are multiple sources about these applications, and the status or some information about these applications across these sources could be different. So in some list it may be called as an active application. In some we see it as retired or no longer used. So our first objective would be to come up with this master list, come up with a single version of truth of the application inventory, along with business owners, not just the application names, the business owners, the technology owners, and the current status, because we are going to work only on the active applications. So once we have got this ready, this may take somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how mature the organization is in terms of maintaining all of this. If not, it could take a bit longer if we have to put this all together by ourselves. Now, when we move on to the analyze phase, this is the actual assessment. So we will need plenty of stakeholder engagement, both business and technology stakeholders. So the identified business and technical owners will be involved in some interview sessions where we try and understand what is the capability or what is the usage of that application. And sometimes we will be able to identify redundant applications with same or similar capabilities across different departments or different locations, which may not be immediately tagged as elimination. We have to find out a rationale for why it is so. And in some form, we would also like to have the cost implication. What is the cost usage, the total cost of ownership of these applications, which sometimes we work along with your finance department, try and understand how the license cost, ongoing subscription or maintenance cost is being tracked. So once we've got an idea about the technical fit, the business value that this application is providing, and also a good understanding of the total cost of ownership, we move on to actual definition of what we want to do. How do we rationalize, right? Defining the rationalization process. So we use Gartner's time framework: tolerate, invest, migrate, or eliminate. So you might have to tolerate some of the legacy applications, live with it as is, because touching that could have a business impact, or any more investment would actually create wasted effort. So the lot of criteria as we identify the technology fit and business fit, and we put a 4x4 like 2x2 matrix, where we know in terms of a weighted matrix, basically in terms of the technology fit and the business fit, to come up with whether it has to be tolerated, invested, migrated, or eliminated. It looks like a straightforward approach, but it involves a lot of discussions and consensus from your respective stakeholders. Now, once we've got that, the consolidated recommendations on all the applications, then we move on to ranking these applications by urgency and impact. We might have some quick wins, some applications which might straight off go to the elimination stage or tolerate stage, but there could be other applications where we need to assess the urgency and impact while they are sitting in the invest or migrate stage. So we've got an action plan now. So we get on to the implementation phase. Again, we have to, this might be a new set of stakeholders based on who uses it or who has developed it, whether it's an in-house built application or it's a managed vendor. Do we have to change any contractual obligations with these vendors and things like that, right? So we manage that stakeholder collaboration, come up with an action plan and start executing the action plan. So this typically is like a lot of mini projects, sub projects running within, and each of it will have its own time frame, but you will have a strategy as to how you want to manage all of it under this umbrella. And so typically this is 12 months to 18 months by the time we have come arrived at this stage, depending on again the volume of the applications, how many applications you manage. For typical medium to large scale organization where there are a few hundreds of applications, uh, I think 12 to 18 months is a time frame that we are looking at. Then there is this monitor stage, which is to continuously track or keep a control on your application portfolio. You don't want this to grow up to the same state again, right? So we'll help you to enforce some standards and guidelines and revisit this rationalization process, not at this scale, but come and do a periodic check to make sure that things are under control, and also other governance standards and governance guidelines if they are missing, as to how you would what's your vendor engagement process, how do you make sure when you onboard a new product or application, how do you make sure that there is no redundancy or it's the right investment, things like that. So yeah, that's typically how we approach application rationalization. Thank you.